It's a Northwest Lifestyle Weekend on Como News. IRG's Health Talk continues.
All right, our next guest is Ken Gordon, Executive Director for the Northwest Association for Biomedical Research. On Health Talk, once again, he's been with us before talking about the coronavirus and the vaccine. And Shannon, that, of course, those are two very important topics right now as we head into 2021.
Exactly, Tom. And we're so excited that Ken Gordon is back with us. He is so positive, and I always enjoy listening to him because it makes me feel like there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
We hope so, and we're going to get some more information and some more positive news, we hope, from Ken. Here's Ken Gordon and Shannon O'Kelly.
Ken Gordon, thanks for coming back, and welcome back. How are you?
I'm really good, Shannon. Thanks for having me back on.
Yeah, this is our third time talking to you. We've been talking over the last several months. You originally came on, and you really kind of talked about the ethics of bioengineering and research, preparing for a vaccination, all those things that go into that. You came back a second time, kind of updated that process. I appreciate your information, and just talking to you, Ken, I got to tell you, makes me feel really good. And that's what we want to do today is kind of talk about, here it is, the vaccine's here. We see it in the news. It's being distributed. We want to talk about how safe it is and the process again, and just make sure the general public just really understands how much work, research, science, safety, ethics goes into this process. But before we get into that, tell our listeners again what you do.
So I'm the Executive Director of the Northwest Association for Biomedical Research, and we just focus on making sure the public trusts the work of biomedical research.
And that's a lot of work because biomedical research, we hear about it, we see about it, we know there's a huge process, but maybe you can talk about the process again and just how safe it is and how many folks are involved. Give us the background. I want to just say, you and I off the air talked about this. 272 days we've been locked down. Yeah. 272 days.
We've been locked down a long time. So biomedical research, basically every pill, every potion, every medicine, every medical procedure you have goes through a process of checking before it can become available to the public. And that's exactly what's happened with these vaccines. So we've got the two vaccines, the Moderna vaccine and the Pfizer vaccine, which are either being close to approved or approved by the FDA. And they have gone through trials with animals and trials of human subjects. Up to 80,000 subjects have been involved in the two trials. And they've come out incredibly, the results are clear. The vaccines are safe and they're effective. Going in, the scientists were hoping that the vaccines would be about 60% effective. And from these first two sets of trials, it's looking like the vaccines are about 94 to 95% effective. And that's a game changer. If we can now get those shots into the arms of everyone, we can stop this horrible pandemic. And it's horrible. We've just had 300,000 people die. And so we need to stop this.
Ken, I can tell you this. The day I saw on TV that the distribution was taking place and trucks were taking off from distribution centers, I finally felt after multiple, it's been one long day since February. Mm-hmm. I really felt a surge of positivity. Like, okay, the light's at the end of the tunnel. Tell us about the vaccine, because I think people are asking, well, why does it have to be stored? How is it made? How do they make it? Is it a virus? Is it a live virus? Is it a piece of tissue? Maybe you could describe kind of the physiological process of the vaccine.
So there are 4 different types of vaccines being worked on. These first two from Pfizer and Moderna, they are both RNA vaccines. But it really doesn't matter what kind of vaccine you get. They have the same basic process. What they want to do is put a wee bit of something in your system that makes your immune system recognize the virus. And so that means that when you get exposed to the actual virus, then your immune system is prepared. It's like doing a warm-up before a marathon. You don't go and start running a marathon cold. You do a lot of exercise and training and warming up, and then you can do the event. And so this sort of just pre-charges your immune system. So when you do get exposed, you don't get sick. Your immune system says, hey, I recognize this fella, this horrible COVID vaccine, the virus, and I know how to deal with it. And so these RNA viruses are incredible because they've been developed so quickly, 9 months. Like the quickest vaccine ever before this was the mumps vaccine, which took 4 years. And on average, they normally take 11 years. So 9 months is incredible. And this is the thing that's going to bring us back to normal. And they're safe. It's been into the arms of 80,000 people now, and there's been really no major side effects. Most people have reported a bit of pain, a bit of swelling, maybe feeling lethargic for a day or so, but that's a small price to pay in comparison to maybe dying.
We'll hear more from Ken Gordon and Shannon O'Kelly after this time out on Como.
It's a Northwest Lifestyle Weekend on Como News. Here's Tom Hutler and Shannon O'Kelly with more IRG Health Talk.
All right, Ken Gordon, Northwest Association for Biomedical Research, continues to talk to Shannon O'Kelly about the new vaccine.
Ken, thank you again for joining us, Health Talk. Let's just summarize our conversation earlier. There's about 3 companies in the United States are out in front. It sounds like they're in a phase 2 or 3. They're testing 30 to 75,000 people. Some are getting vaccines and some are getting placebos. Is that pretty fair to say on a review?
That's right. And the idea is that the company then wants those people to go out and live their life, do their normal thing, and then they'll track them. And if you've got a vaccine and you don't get sick, then that's a good indication the vaccine's working. And if you had the placebo and you do get sick, that's also a good indication that the thing's working. And then once those numbers are crunched, then they will know, is this vaccine safe and effective? And once we know that, then we hit the button and we start deploying the vaccine to the whole population. But even once we deploy it, we keep watching it because,
Right.
35 to 75,000 people sounds like a lot of people, but it's not 700 million people. And so we'll keep watching the results to make sure that, again, that's doing the right thing. And the important thing is that we need the entire population to get vaccinated. And this is where the dates are getting confused, because some of these vaccines might be available later this year, but they won't be available to 300 million Americans and 7 billion people in the world until at least the middle of next year. And so we have to keep practicing social distancing, using masks, washing hands, until we know that we've got at least sort of 65 to 85% of the population of the world vaccinated.
Can I ask you a question? I have read and I've heard that there's never been a successful vaccine created for a coronavirus. What's the truth of that?
The common cold's a coronavirus, and so there's never been a vaccine created for the common cold. But I had to say also, we've never had this much focused effort on a vaccine. And the technology being used is new, and it's incredibly advanced. And the initial trials seem to say that people are getting an antibody response, which is what you want. You want people to have the antibody in their system so that if they get exposed to coronavirus, then they're protected.
The idea about a vaccine is the scientists and researchers are building a gene or a piece of RNA or whatever it is that looks and acts like the virus. That comes into your body. Your body says, hey, this is a foreign body or an antigen, and we create an antibody towards that, and then we build immunity. Is that immunity that we're building, is that going to be long-lasting?
The hope is it's long-lasting, but it's too early to tell. And so that's the concern. And we know that, different vaccines are probably going to be more effective for different groups of people, and that's why there are so many trials going on, because one vaccine won't be the silver bullet. There could be several, and depending on what the results are, you might get one, or you might get or another, depending on who you are and your background and your race and everything that goes into that consideration.
Ken, well, again, thank you so much. We're unfortunately out of time. I do want to have you back. Let's try to do this every 4 weeks just to get a checkup. I would love to do that.
Love to do that.
I do have a ton of faith in humanity, by the way, and I know we have some brilliant people out there, including yourself, and thank you for the job that you're doing.
Thank you, Shannon, and thank you for communicating this all so well.
All right, that's been Ken Gordon, Northwest Association for Biomedical Research, talking about the new vaccine. You can get more information, nwabr.com. Shannon, this vaccine, there's been controversy about it. There's been hope. There's been disappointment. Bottom line, hopefully going to be a game changer.
And like Dr. Ken Gordon mentioned, I'm confident in it. There's so many intelligent, smart people that have worked on this, and they're not going to distribute a vaccine to the public that hasn't been checked and researched.
Thanks again to Ken Gordon. And Carrie Austin Escobedo joins us next. She's an RN. We'll talk about some very important topics with her next on Como.